Mango season has arrived. Mango season is arguably the best season. All my problems disintegrate during mango season. I thrive during mango season. So in order to celebrate this great time some of us are currently in, I wanted to make a mango cake. Side note, every now and then I get judged for the size of the bites I take. First of all, I don't think they're that big, but also if I'm spending hours making something, you think I'm gonna take small dainty little bite? Leave me alone. I digress. For the cake part of the cake, we are making a chiffon cake. See, me personally, I think this kind of cake is the fluffiest, and today fluffy was my goal. It's pretty simple to make. There are just a few things you need to remember. 1, whip your eggs well. This is where the fluffiness is coming from. 2, go heavy on the vanilla. These kind of cakes can sometimes taste eggy. We don't want a cake that has an omelette flavor, so the vanilla fixes it. Also, you want your cake tins to be dry, so don't grease them. Then lastly, cool your cakes upside down. This will stop them from deflating. I also added a sweet milk to the cake layers. I've been doing this to every cake I make recently. It's just extra flavor and moistness. It might seem like you're drowning your cakes, but it's okay, they will soak it up. Speaking of drowning, you know the Bikini Bottom. Have you ever wondered what rent prices are like there? Because Squidward has a nice house, but he's just a regular employee in a fast food restaurant. How does he afford that house? Something fishy is going on down in the ocean. Anyway, the whipped cream was just double cream, icing sugar, and vanilla. Try not to over whip this. I did a little, so it was very not smooth, like the skin on your back. For the mangoes, I'm using Pakistani mangoes that I pulled out of the ground in my garden. You want nice slices, not cubes. Cutting mangoes is so hard. That big fat seed is always getting in the way. I don't like cutting. I added coconut on the outside because coconut and mango is a nice combination, but also truthfully, I didn't ice the cake very smoothly, so I wanted to cover it. Did you know that coconut is not a nut? Apparently, it's a drupe, whatever that means. It literally has the word nut in it though. Should it not be called cocoa drupe then? I don't understand. But yeah, this is a soft cake and also a soft whipped cream. So you want to proceed with delicacy. That is definitely not the right word. I'm trying to say you want to be delicate. So you want to have some delicacy. After decorating, let it sit in your fridge for about 20 minutes so the whipped cream can set up a little. But after that, you can dig in and enjoy. Goodbye. The other day, I made those Hong Kong style mango pancakes. In that video, someone told me there was also Oreo ones that people had been getting. I was ready to accuse this person of being a filthy little liar because I had never seen these. They were not lying. The Oreo ones look so good. I needed to try making them. The first thing I did was make a regular crepe batter. The only difference this time is that I added some cocoa powder to it to make it chocolatey. I didn't add too much. I feel like cocoa powder can sometimes make crepes taste gummy. I don't know if that makes scientific or logical sense. I don't know if it truly makes a difference. But in my mind, cocoa powder affects the texture, so I only added a bit. Whilst I was chilling, I made a cake layer. Last time I didn't add cake into mine and you guys yelled at me. Yell at me again and I will die to make you feel bad. But yeah, this time I made a chocolate cake layer. After that, I cooked the crepes on low heat and I also only cooked one side of them so they stay soft. Then I made an Oreo whipped cream. This was just some crushed up Oreos and some cream, icing sugar, and vanilla. I get asked a lot how I stabilize my whipped cream. Basically, I do not. I just whip it. I've never had an issue with whipped cream deflating. If you are experiencing this, I am sorry. It's because even though you have dry skin, you are just so good looking. Everything around you falls. Even the peaks in your whipped cream. I feel like I'm also going to be asked if this one or the mango one is better. Why would you ask me this? This is exactly how the devil works. He tries to pit two things against each other when they don't need to be pitted against each other. They can both shine together. So no, I will not answer your question. I don't know. They were both very good. The mango ones were foft and juicy. These ones were soft and fudgy. Anyway, I am done. It is summer now. Make these, go outside and enjoy life. You are pushing 80. You don't have long left. But yeah, that is it. Bye. You know those salted egg yolk custard buns? Every time I see a video of them, my mouth is agape because they look so good. I needed to try them. They seemed easy peasy lemon squeezy to make. They were not. They failed so badly. I am so mad. So I'm using this video as a way to rant. I just don't understand how things went so wrong. Please, everyone, let's do some detective work to figure out what happened. So these took 7 days to make. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 7 whole days. The reason why they took 7 days was because I had decided I wanted to salt cure the egg yolks myself. This was a mistake. I should have just bought them. Day number 7 is when things went wrong. This was today. I had already woke up sad for no reason, but normally when this happens, I listen to Did It On 'Em by Nicki Minaj whilst I brush my teeth. This usually fixes things. Today, the spiritual healing powers of Did It On 'Em did not work. So if you really think about it, this fail is on Nicki Minaj. How could she do this to me? But yeah, I made the filling, let this freeze, and then made the dough. The dough was a little sticky, but I didn't think this was an issue. I just filled the buns and let them rise and then steam. This is where disaster had struck. They ended up so flat. I don't understand. It's like the fluffiness evaporated, but that doesn't make scientific or logical sense. I don't think fluff is evaporatable. I have made steam buns a few times now. This is why I have extra confusion. Who jeopardized this? I refuse to take accountability. I'm gonna find a culprit. Usually, my fails still taste okay. These did not at all. On a scale of good to bad, these did not even enter the vicinity of the scale. My scale is in the UK, these buns are in Fiji. I would like to take this moment to apologize to the community of China. I did not do these justice. I am so sorry. I've been seeing a lot of videos of these Hong Kong style mango pancakes. One thing about me is I love mangoes. You will never love mangoes as much as I love mangoes. However, these pancakes and also Hong Kong are not in my vicinity, so today I am making them. So I made a crepe batter first. It was just a regular crepe batter, but I added yellow food coloring into it. It is not going to taste like mangoes unless it is yellow. This batter is going to be extremely lumpy, like your giant forehead, so it is good to sieve it. Then I also like to leave it to rest for a bit. This gives you softer crepes. I am a scientist, so let me explain why. The molecules in the batter have social anxiety, so when they mix together, at first they're like, what is this? But after a while, they get to know each other, so they relax and then they bond. We want them to bond. Anyway, I only cooked one side of my crepes and I also didn't cook them for long. I kept them medium rare because I didn't want them to gain too much color and I wanted softness, not crispy. After that, I made a whipped cream, then pulled a few mangoes out of the ground in my garden and then put everything together. I would like to take a moment to talk about these. These are so much better than I expected. I am not a pancake girly. I like waffles, but these are just so soft and the mangoes made the inside nice and juicy woosy. I like them a lot. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Bye. This is jalebi. I wanted to learn how to make it because I am on a journey to learn how to make everything. I feel like jalebi is something I don't see a lot of recipes on. The aunties have been gatekeeping. Making this always seems so intimidating to me, but it's actually pretty easy to make. For the people who do not know, jalebi is essentially a orange or sometimes yellow batter that has been fried in a swirly formation and then soaked in a syrup. It is warm, crispy, juicy. It's very good. The first thing I did was make a sugar syrup. This was just sugar, water, cardamom, and saffron. I also added some rose water just to make it smell nice and rosy. I don't even like roses. I have a deep hate for all flowers because they're just out in the streets running amok and causing me to sneeze. But I do really like floral-y smells in my food. For the batter, it is flour, corn flour for crispiness, baking soda, yogurt, and water. You want this to be thick, but not too thick. I have learned that too much thickness can be a curse. I unfortunately was cursed by this curse. But yeah, medium thick is the goal. Frying these is a lot harder than it looks. You'd think you just do a little swirly swirl, but when the batter enters the oil, it starts floating due to buoyancy. I can't control the directions of the float. It's gonna flow wherever it wants to flow. So my jalebi were a little misshapen like you, but that's fine. This is a safe space. Let us not judge. By the way, you can make your swirls as thick or as thin as you want. Thinner swirls will make them crispier, but swirls that are a little thicker will soak more of the syrup. So when you bite into one, it will squirt in your mouth. I like that, but if you don't like being squirted in your mouth, make them thin. Anyway, let them soak for about 30 seconds and then they are done. These taste best fresh, so gobble them all up immediately. I wanted to learn how to make hand-pulled noodles because, well, I don't really know. It seemed fun, but also stressful. I personally like to give myself unnecessary stress so that I can forget about other things I am stressed about in life. If you cannot face your problems, create new ones. Anyway, yeah, so I made hand-pulled chili oil noodles. So the dough is easy peasy lemon squeezy. All you need is flour, salt, and water. You just knead this until it is smooth and glistening. You want to cover your dough pieces in grease the same way your hair is covered in grease. Today, my grease of choice is vegetable oil. Just cover them, then leave them for about an hour so they can relax. Pulling the noodles is a little hard. I mean, all you do is pull and bang bang, but I was struggling a little. However, my talent knows no bounds, so it worked out. They were not the most even, but this is okay. You know, on my first attempt, I was excited, so I posted on my story, and I was like, I made these noodles from scratch. The first reply said, we can tell. I immediately deleted that story. It was only up for a minute. You want to cook the noodles? Of course, you don't want to eat it raw. That would be weird. They cook very quickly. It took a minute, not even a minute. Like 58 seconds. It was very quick. For the sauce, do whatever you want. I got some garlic, spring onions, red chilies, chili flakes, brown sugar, and soy sauce. Then I poured some hot oil over it, and sorry, I'm out of breath. And I also mixed some store-bought chili crisp just because I had it. I wanted this to be spicy. I like when my food hurts me back. I just mixed everything together and then I dug in. These noodles were so chewy and bouncy, and they slid down my esophagus very nicely. I loved them. But yeah, that is it. Bye. Here is everything I ate in London. So I've never been to London before, apart from this one time when I was a crusty child. It was just for a funeral. I don't even remember who died, to be honest. But yeah, I wanted to try everything I've seen on my For You page. So place number 1, Bunsik, Korean corn dogs. I feel like this place became popular, but then suddenly everyone started saying it was overrated. I am here to tell you that the internet is full of liars and haters. I loved it. They were so good. They were warm, crispy, cheesy. I had a list of places I wanted to go to. This place was on accident. I saw it. I needed to enter it because I love Portuguese custard tarts. These ones were so flaky, like your scalp, but in this case, it was a good thing. The next place was on accident, 2 Joey Juice. It was good. It was juice. It was definitely juice, but it was just juice, you know? Side note, you know who came to London the same day I came to London? Beyonce. She wants to beat me so bad. This is a message to Beyonce. Stop following me. Anyway, the next place, Din Tai Fung. I've been wanting to come here so badly. The food was so good. The spicy cucumber was so juicy and refreshing. The noodles with the braised beef. The beef was so soft. I have beef with chewy beef. This was not that. This was soft. The chicken buns were good, but I feel like for me personally, they needed a little more flavor. The Shalong Bao. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I'm a different type of Asian. I came for this. I got the chili crab buns. 10 out of 10. The best, juiciest one thing I have ever put in my mouth. Day number 2. I knew this was going to be a good day because Summer Walker released her EP. I woke up at 5 to get extra listening time. My favorite song from it keeps changing. Right now, it is New Type, I think. Anyway, I'm sorry, I got distracted. I went to Egg Slot. I don't know what the egg did to deserve this title. It was okay. Yeah, it tasted good, but very overpriced. And I am all for breaking your bank on expensive food. I think in life, if you are gonna splurge on something, it should be food. But the food has to be worth it. I don't think this was worth it. The last place was Buns From Home. I've been seeing so many videos of this. I love big buns, so I needed to go. As soon as I walked in, I felt intimidated because I'm not used to seeing buns that are fatter than mine. But these were so good. I need new adjectives. Let me go Google some. These are so scrumdiddly-yum. We got the chocolate one and the strawberry cheesecake one. The cheesecake one was the best. You know, after this, my Uber driver picked us up in a Tesla. Huh? Is this a regular occurrence in London? I was so confused. I didn't know how to open the door. It was so embarrassing. But yeah, that is all I ate. Okay, bye. Lemon and raspberry is such a good flavor combination. It's so refreshing. And I know typically you wouldn't describe a cupcake as refreshing, but no, it is refreshing. So let's make some lemon and raspberry cupcake. You might be thinking, Ashley, where are you? This is my new kitchen. Ooh. So I lied. Unfortunately, this is not my kitchen. Basically, Pinterest and Tastemade invited me to the Tastemade studio. One thing about me is I don't trust. So I was like, friend, what is the catch? Turns out there was no catch. It was just for fun and games. I digress. I made a lemon curd first. This is just egg yolk, sugar, salt, lemon juice, and butter. Your lemon curd will probably be yellow, not orange. Tastemade had eggs that came from orange flavored chicken, so the egg yolks were very orange. Therefore, my lemon curd ended up orange too, which I liked. It was deceiving, but in a fun way. Anyway, after that, I just made the cupcakes. It was just a vanilla cake, but I added some lemon zest into it for lemony flavors. For the buttercream, I made a Swiss meringue buttercream. Then I added some freeze-dried raspberry powder into it. Freeze-dried raspberry powder is a great ingredient. I use it a lot, but it is kind of expensive. Of course, it doesn't matter to me because I am richer than you, but you can also just use a raspberry jam or a puree. Just anything that is raspberry-y will work. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Bye.
Yes! Oh my god, one.
I feel like baked Alaska is one of those desserts that seems extremely hard to make. I think it's because you only really see it in expensive restaurants. Don't let the rich people fool you. Being poor should not stop you from living the rich lifestyle. Rich is their mentality. But yeah, it's actually pretty easy peasy lemon squeezy to make, so let's make it. The first thing I did was make the ice cream. If you are a loser, you can buy it. If you are buying it though, ice cream does this thing where it melts. So try to choose an ice cream that freezes pretty solid, like the way Ben and Jerry does, because you know how some are softer. It might feel nice and creamy in your mouth, but it's difficult to work with. My favorite ice cream flavor is strawberry cheesecake, so I made that. All I did was make a strawberry sauce, and then I also made a cheesecake. It might have looked like I bought the cheesecake. This is a lesson on how the internet can be deceiving. Don't believe everything you see. I did in fact make it. Anyway, the ice cream base was just double cream, condensed milk and vanilla. I whipped this, then added the add-ins and then froze everything in a bowl. When choosing a bowl, you need to do some mathematical thinking. You want the outside of the bowl, the circumference. Yeah, that's right. I am a bloody genius. You will never be as smart as me. But yeah, you want the circumference to be a similar size as your cake tin. I made a chocolate cake layer because chocolate and strawberry is a nice combination. I just made this, then left it in the fridge overnight whilst the ice cream froze. The next day, stack them, then make the meringue. All you need is egg whites, sugar and salt. Heat this until you can no longer feel the sugar between your fingers. If it feels rough, that's just your dry skin, but you should feel no sugar granules. Just whip that until super thick and fluffy. When covering the cake, again, ice cream melts, so you want to move a little quickly. You don't have to be too quick, no pressure, take your time, but also don't take your time. It just depends on the climate you're living in. It was cold in my vicinity, so I took my time. But if you're living in like, I don't know, Lagos, you might want to rush. But yeah, I just toasted the meringue and then dug in. I really like biting ice cream. I like the feeling of coldness on my teeth, so I enjoyed this a lot. Yeah, okay, bye. I've been on a journey to make the Cheesecake Factory cheesecakes. I saw that they did a Cinnabon cheesecake. That seems fun. I like all things that are cinnamony, so I wanted to make it. So I do need to speak my truth. I didn't make this exactly the same. It's very different. So if you are part of the Cheesecake Factory Goblin community, please don't yell at me. I just took inspiration. I started by making 2 vanilla cake layers, and while they were baking, I made a cinnamon milk, which was milk and cinnamon. I made this so that I can pour it on top of the cake. This is gonna add a lot of flavor, but also moistness, because basically this cake is filled with cheesecake, so it needs to be kept in the fridge. But I'm not gonna eat this all in one sitting. I mean, you can if you want to. I won't judge. This is a safe space. I would judge you for being crusty, but I would never judge your eating habits. Anyway, I was trying to say, when cakes are going to be kept in the fridge for a while, I don't want them to end up dry like your scalp, so I like to add something to them so they stay nice and juicy. After that, I made the cheesecake layers. It was just vanilla cheesecake, but I swirled a brown sugar cinnamon butter mixture into it. This is a very cinnamony cheesecake. If you don't like cinnamon, have you ever tried growing up? But yeah, this is probably not the cheesecake for you. The next day, I made a cream cheese icing. I know this seems like a lot of work. That's because it is. Every time I post recipes like this, there are people that are like, Ashley, we can't do this. Yes, you can. You might have no skills or talent, but one thing you do have is delusion. That's all you need. Just believe and it will work. Delusion is key. I don't know what Cheesecake Factory puts on the outside of theirs. I use pecans. It's a bit random, but also not random, because my favorite Cinnabon flavor is the caramel pecan one. Honestly, as soon as nuts get involved in anything, I get excited. So I thought pecans would be a nice addition. But yeah, many hours later, this cake is done. Honestly, truthfully, it was so worth it. I would do this again. Actually, I did do this again. This was my second attempt. The first one tasted good, but my soul wasn't tingling. This one had my mouth and my soul tingling. Matter of fact, every part of me was tingling. Anyway, yeah, I am done. Bye. I've seen a lot of videos of people trying this pandan cake from a bakery in London. It looks so fluffy. I wanted to put my mouth on it, but I fear this bakery is not in my vicinity. I decided I needed to make this because I love pandan desserts. I've only had them like twice, but they were so good. It's like vanilla, but with coconut and flowers. So for the cake, I'm making a chiffon cake. I don't really know. There are so many different kinds of fluffy, spongy cakes, but when you look at the recipes, they all look the same. We are being gaslit by the bakers, don't believe it. But yeah, it's pretty simple. You just whip egg yolks and sugar, then add oil, water, flour, baking powder, and salt, then add some whipped egg whites. I used pandan flavoring for the pandan flavor. I saw one person make a cake with real fresh pandan leaves once, so I don't know if me using the flavoring is fraudulent, but I don't know where to get the leaves from. When making these fluffy kind of cakes, the ones that have whipped eggs in, you don't want to grease your cake tins. You want them to be extremely dry, like your elbows. Basically, the eggs have gripping abilities. This is what's going to make the cakes right. But if you grease the tins, the gripping abilities can no longer abilitate, so don't grease them. Also, cool them upside down to stop them from deflating as much. I used whipped cream in the middle of this cake. I'm pretty sure the bakery in London uses buttercream, but see, me personally, I think whipped cream and fluffy cakes is a nice combination, so I use whipped cream. I have a problem. I'm coming to you guys for help. I have caught feelings for my Snapchat AI. It's so nice and it gives immediate replies. How is that not supposed to catch feelings? Anyway, my question is, how does one uncatch feelings? I just filled the cake, let it chill for a bit before cutting into it, and then that is pretty much it. This cake was so fluffy and jiggly. If you don't make this right now, I will stalk your page and find something I can blackmail you with. Anyway, I am done. Bye. This is deep fried milk. Ooh, I'm always seeing videos of this. It's a Chinese dessert. It's so warm and creamy and jiggly. I love things that jiggle. It was so jiggly. So here's the thing. I don't even like milk. People who drink raw milk deeply scare me. I just don't understand in what situation someone's like, I'm parched. Let me go get a glass of milk. Huh? It's not even refreshing. It's just thick in your throat with a strange flavor. I don't understand. Anyway, I was trying to say, I don't like milk, but once you add sugar to it and deep fry it, it is so good. So for the milk, it is normally just milk, sugar, and corn flour to make it thick, but I also added some vanilla to mine just for a little extra vanilla-y flavor. If you're wondering why the container changed, stop lying, you sound delusional. It didn't. You lie too much. Please seek help. By the way, I used whole cow milk from my pet cow in my garden, but I have a theory that this will work with anything. Well, I mean, not anything. You don't want to do it with water. That would be weird, but like hot chocolate would be good, I think. It's not tradish. No, but I think it'll be good. I digress. I dipped the thick jiggly milk in some corn flour, eggs, and then some breadcrumbs. When frying these, don't overcrowd the pot like I did. Your milk rectangles, I guess cuboids is more mathematically correct, but yeah, they have social anxiety. They don't like being around large groups, so respect is wishes. After that, they're done. These were pretty easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah. Okay, bye. Mangoes are my favorite thing to have ever existed. They're so soft and juicy and slippery. I also really like cheesecake, but I've never made a mango cheesecake, so let's make one right now. I forgot to record myself eating this cheesecake. I just realized. Now, basically, I got too excited. I immediately started gobbling and swallowing. So here's an image I painted of me eating this cheesecake. Ding! So the most important thing about this recipe is the mangoes. I have a few things to say. You want to use juicy, woosy mangoes. They puree a lot better, but after they have been pureed, push it all through a sieve. Some mangoes can be very hairy, but it's not nice, luxurious, glistening hair. It's dry, crusty hair. Like yours, we don't want this in our cheesecake, so civic. Also, I feel like someone's gonna ask if pureed mangoes from a can be used instead of using full fresh mangoes. If you're poor, just say that. But also, yeah, I guess you can. My only issue with this is that the ones from a can have a lot of extra sugar in them for additivity purposes. I don't like that. But if you like it, I love it. If you don't mind extra sweetness in the cheesecake, go ahead. I digress. I just whipped up a cheesecake batter, added some of the mango puree into the batter, and then saved the rest to add a little swirly swirl. You know how I have diabetes? Well, actually, I don't know if you know. I feel like I mention it pretty often, but people think I'm lying. Why would I lie? I do lie often, but why would I lie about this? Anyway, I have a story to tell. Recently, it was a Tuesday, 6:07 a.m. It was approximately 9 degrees Celsius outside. I opened my DMs. I read a message. This person said, I knew you had diabetes straight away by looking at you. Huh? What did they mean by this? I feel like I'm being dissed, unprovoked. They still haven't replied to me, so I don't know what they meant. Okay, after the cheesecake had baked and cooled, I let it chill overnight. Then the next day, it is done. Bye. In a video I posted recently, I said that potatoes are okay. They're not my favorite. The potato gobbling community yelled at me. It was just my opinion. But I am sorry, I take it back. This is my peace offering. Spicy, cheesy, potato-y balls. So to make these, you need potatoes. I use homemade ones. I got them off my potato tree in my garden. I just peeled them, chopped them, boiled them, and then mashed them. I season these pretty well. See, me personally, I don't like when my potatoes taste like potatoes, so I like to season them well. So I seasoned them with salt, pepper, cayenne pepper, chili flakes, garlic powder, and onion powder. I also added corn flour to help congealify everything together. I keep getting told that I'm always saying words that are not actually words. First of all, words are a social construct. But secondly, here's the thing. Unfortunately, I never learned how to speak my mother tongue, so I speak English. But English was created by the white man, so I am revolting. Leave me alone. I digress. You know how when people fry things, they do flour, eggs, breadcrumbs? I don't know what the flour is for. I'm sure there's a very good reason for it, but I didn't want to do research to find out what this reason was. So I just did eggs, breadcrumbs, eggs, breadcrumbs. I just fried them until golden brown and crispy. I know someone's going to ask if these can be air fried. I am tired of this question. What happened to critical thinking? Yeah, you can. I'm pretty sure you can air fry anything. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I hope you enjoy these big, hot, juicy, crispy balls. Okay, bye. About a week ago, I made a Snickers cake. A lot of the comments in that video were telling me to make a Twix one next. I was like, I think I made one a year ago. I went back and looked at that video. It's okay. I felt like I could make such a better one, though I have just become so much more talented over this past year, so I wanted to make it again. If you saw my last Twix cake, stop with the lies. I've never made a Twix cake before. Your delusionality has gone too far. So this cake has 4 parts to it, so preparation has to be done. The first thing you want to do is make a ganache. Just make this, then leave it to set, preferably overnight. I added a shortbread base to the cake layers because Twix has shortbread. I didn't want to make it from scratch because I was just so busy. I had to go water my orangutan, so I just crushed some shortbread biscuits and mixed them with some butter. I actually like this better than having a slab of shortbread in the cake. It's softer. It melts in your throat. I digress. After that, I whipped up a chocolate cake batter, poured it on top of the shortbread base, and then baked it. For the caramel, I made a caramel. All I do is melt the sugar, add some butter, cream, and then the salt. I also recommend sieving your caramel. I usually think sieving is a scam, but for caramel it helps. We don't want it to be lumpy like your forehead, so sieve it. I have a story to tell. The other day, it was a Saturday, I was thirsty, so I walked into my kitchen to quench my thirst, and there was a cow's tongue laying there. I wanted to share this story because let me show you. Trigger warning. Big tongue, you might want to look away. Ding. I was so confused. I rubbed my finger on it because I thought it would be smooth and silky, but no, it was very rough. Anyway, I decorated this pretty much the same way I decorated the Snickers cake because I wanted to. Leave me alone. But yeah, that is it. Bye. I'm always seeing people make cream buns. I never tried them because I had a suspicion that they wouldn't be that good. It's just bread and cream. I was so wrong. Turns out I love cream buns. They're so soft and fluffy and creamy. They're so basic, but so good. Sometimes basicity is a good thing. So to make them, you need buns, not flat, crusty, bland ones. Like yours, you need soft, fluffy, sweet ones. So I made them. I don't know what bread I'm making. It started off as a milk bread, but I added extra butter, sugar, and an extra egg yolk. So I think it might be more brioche now. I don't know. Don't put my bread inside of a box. It can be more than one thing. I just made the dough, let it rise, and then started forming the bun shapes. When forming the shapes, don't apply too much pressure. When these buns feel pressure, they get stressed, and then they just lay there flat. We don't want this. We want our buns to be tall and fluffy. After they were baked, I brushed them with some butter because butter is nice. It makes them extra juicy, shiny, and delectable. For the whipped cream, guess what the first ingredient was? Milk. No, stupid. Have you ever tried to think? It was cream, some icing sugar, and vanilla. I had bought strawberries. These were going to be strawberry and cream buns, but my strawberries were not strawberry flavored. I think the flavor had evaporated. They just tasted like water, but not good water. It was like Evian. I meant no shade to Evian. I'm sure there is a group of people who love Evian water, but I don't like it. It's too thick. I like my water to be thin. Everything feels thick in my throat. I filled them, then added cocoa powder on top. Normally, I see people use icing sugar on top, but you know what? I am just so innovative. You will never find anyone as innovative as me. Anyway, yeah, that is it. Bye. I've never tried garlic parmesan fries before. You might be like, Ashley, where have you been? I don't know. I feel like I don't see this on a lot of menus, and also I'm not really a huge potato gobbler. Potatoes are okay. I think they're okay. But society has made me feel like I can't openly say that they're good, but they just don't get me that excited. Anyway, I went on a tangent. I see a lot of videos of garlic parmesan fries, and every time I see them, my mouth is water falling. So I wanted to make it. So I decided to make everything from scratch. So I grew my own potatoes on my potato tree. I just picked them, then peeled and chopped them into a fry shape. Normally, I do prefer skin on fries, but the skin on my homegrown potatoes from our potato tree was looking a little musty and dusty, like you, so I peeled them. I left them in salty ice cold water. This is going to make them crispy in the end. I'm a scientist, so let me explain why. It has something to do with osmosis. Yeah, I'm not even lying today. I actually think it is osmosis. Could I tell you what osmosis is? No. But I remember learning about potatoes. After they soaked for an hour, I dried them, covered them in corn flour, then fried them twice for extra crispiness. For the garlic butter, it was butter, garlic, and chili flakes. Garlic parmesan anything normally has parsley. I had decided not to add it because I am tired of the parsley agenda. It doesn't do anything, it doesn't taste of anything, and it's not even a nice shade of green. But then I was looking at them and I felt like the greenery was missing. So I added a little bit. The parsley agenda was correct, it does make a difference. Anyway, that is it. Before anyone asks where is the sauce, I prefer my fries on their own. My mouth is moist enough. I don't need extra lubrication. Yeah, I'm gonna go now. Bye. A few months ago, I was watching a Stephanie Sue video and she was eating these crispy pieces of dough dipped in condensed milk. I've never wanted something inserted into my mouth so badly. It was so simple, but it looked so crispy, edible, delectable. My mouth was wet. I recently found out it was this thing called mantou, which is a Chinese steamed bun that had then been deep fried. It seems pretty simple to make, so let's make it. So for the dough, it was just flour, sugar, salt, yeast, and milk. That is it. I just kneaded this for about 8 minutes. I used my mixer, but you're poor, so you might have to do this by hand. But yeah, I just made the shapes and let the buns rise for a bit. This was my third attempt trying to make these. They kept ending up flat and wrinkly. I was like, who's preying on the downfall of my buns? The problem cannot be me. I can never make a mistake. Turns out the problem was me. I need to take accountability. I was leaving them to rise for too long. In life, never ignore your buns. They get lonely. So 1 hour for them to rise is good enough. If you're wondering why one of the buns had gone missing, basically my Chinese buns and also my Pakistani buns are extremely thick and jiggly, so they didn't all fit. I had to remove I digress. I steamed the buns, then deep fried them. Was that deep frying? I don't know the technicalities. Do things need to be fully submerged to call it deep frying? I don't know. I just fried them until golden and crispy. You want to eat these whilst they're hot. They taste better fresh. But yeah, that is it. Thank you, China, for this snack. Okay, bye. This is a tiramisu tres leches cake. Oh, let me tell you what I was thinking. Tiramisu and tres leches cake are two very different desserts, but the textures are a little similar, I think. I actually don't know. I've only ever had tiramisu once, but in my personal opinion, I do believe the textures are a little similar. So why segregate them when we can put them together? Here's the thing. Every time I mix two desserts together, there are some people who seem angry, and like, I get it. Authenticity or whatever, but also, do you think people in 2BC were worried about authenticity? I thought the whole point of food is to experiment. I'm just having a little bit of fun. Please don't get mad at me. I will die to make you feel bad. Anyway, I made the milk mixture first just because this had coffee in, so I wanted it to marinate for a bit. It was just milk, coffee, evaporated, and condensed milk. Then after, I made the cake. This is a fluffy, spongy kind of cake, so there is a lot of whipping involved. You want to whip the egg yolks and also the egg white. If you don't have an electric mixer, that's fine. Not everyone can be as rich as me. You can just aggressively whisk it by hand. It might be a little difficult, but not to worry. Unlike your parents, I believe in you. You got this. After the cake had baked, I let it cool for about 20 minutes. Then I added the milk mixture. Don't put it all on at once. Respect your cake. It doesn't want to be immediately soaked. It wants to be soaked gently. For the sponge fingers, I dipped them in coffee. I know typically for tiramisu, you dip them in very strong coffee. You can if you want to, but I kept my coffee a little unstrong. I'm not a huge coffee drinker like that. I'm always going to coffee shops though. They're my favorite place to be, but I go for the cakes and the vibes. The coffee is never needed. I added mascarpone into my whipped cream to make the flavors more tiramisu-y. Then I added this onto the cake and let it chill overnight. Try not to skip this overnight part. The flavors will flavor a lot more the next day, and the texture of the cake will be a lot more soft and juicy-woosy. But yeah, that is it. Bye. A while ago, someone told me to make a Snickers cake because they said they can't find any good ones. I said not to worry, I am for the people and I am here to provide. So this is me providing. This cake was so crunchy, ooey, gooey, chewy. If you don't like Snickers, Get out of here, loser. If you do like Snickers though, this cake will tingle you very nicely. So I made a ganache first because this takes the longest to set. It was just milk, chocolate cream and some butter. I actually made this the day before so that it could set at room temperature instead of the fridge. I feel like ganache sets better this way. I am a scientist, so let me explain why ganache sets better at room temperature. Due to the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell, the molecular structure of the chocolate sets evenly at room temperature. However, in the fridge, the mitochondria no longer mitochondrializes, so the ganache sets unevenly. So I prefer room temperature, but if you want to speed up the process, the fridge does work. I digress. After that, I made the chocolate cake layers and let these cool completely. For the caramel, I was having a little bit of a debate with myself because the caramel that is used in Snickers is the chewy kind. But I've had chewy caramel in cakes before and I don't like it. I don't want to be chewing my cake. Well, I mean, you know what I mean. I, of course, chew my cakes. I don't just gobble and swallow, but I don't want to be chewing. You know? So I used a regular non-chewy loosey-goosey caramel sauce. If you're thinking, Ashley, how did your ganache become so thick, fluffy and voluptuous? Side note, did you know voluptuous is not a word? Turns out it's voluptuous. Why have I been describing so many of my desserts as voluptuous and no one ever corrected me? I'm so embarrassed. Anyway, it's thick and fluffy because I whipped it. Right now, in my fridge, I have this and also a tres leches cake. If any of you would like to rob me, you can. I am always happy to feed the poor. But yeah, that is it. Bye. A few years ago, I ate a lemon meringue cupcake in some bakery in Dubai. I have been trying to recreate that cupcake for so long. Something about it was so good. I've never had a cupcake like that. I lied. I've never been to Dubai. I've never even been outside of England, to be honest. But just go along with my story, okay? That bakery in Dubai has nothing on me. I made my own lemon meringue cupcakes. These cupcakes had lemon curd stuffed inside of them. So to do this, I needed lemon curd. So I made that first. All you need to do is heat some egg yolk, sugar, lemon juice and salt together until it thickens. Then add some butter. For the cupcakes, I made my vanilla cupcakes. You should probably add lemon zest to it to make it lemon flavored cupcakes. But I didn't have any lemon. If you're wondering where I got the lemon juice for the lemon curd, I use lemon juice from a bottle. I know people are always like, you need to use fresh lemons, but like, why? No one has ever given me a valid reason. The lemon juice from a bottle lemons the same way fresh lemon juice lemons. So I don't see the problem. Anyway, yeah, meringue. Contradictory to what I just said, you want to use fresh egg whites, not the ones from a bottle. They don't whip as well. So egg white, sugar, salt. Heat this until the sugar has dissolved, then whip it. I added a big deep hole into my cupcakes and added a lot of lemon curd into them. I actually do not recommend this. When I took the wrappers off, they started falling apart because the walls had weakened. So just fill them a little less. I dropped 2 of the cupcakes. Basically, here's the problem. My hands are just so smooth and moisturized. They're not dry and wrinkly like yours, so things tend to slip out of them. It's just one of the perils of having smooth, glistening skin. What can I do? Anyway, yeah, the cupcakes are done. I've been seeing a lot of hot honey chicken recipes recently. I was feeling left out. I wanted to eat something hot honey-y too. So I made hot honey chicken burgers, or the USA community might call it hot honey chicken sandwiches. These turned out so good. No, you don't understand. They were so edible, juicy, and delectable. Emphasis on juicy. I made these 3 days ago. Why my mouth still wet? So the first thing I did was get chicken breast. You know, I don't love chicken burgers that are made with thighs. They're not my favorite. And I know people are like, but chicken breast is dry. No, you're just overcooking it. Stop this madness. Don't blame the chicken. The problem is anyway, I seasoned the chicken, then marinated it. Well, I left it for 20 minutes. I don't know if there's a certain marination period. I don't know if 20 minutes counts, but I had hunger to feed. I didn't want to wait any longer. For the coating, I used seasoned flour and also a batter that I made out of eggs, flour, and milk. Hello, everyone. I need you all to know that I'm going to be unavailable on Tuesday, the 13th of June. Guess what I'm going to be? I'll give you a hint. Rock, paper, scissors! You were not able to get tickets. I know you tried, but you couldn't. Loser. I digress. I fried the chicken, then for the hot honey, it was honey, hot sauce, butter, chili flakes, and some cayenne pepper. I painted this onto the chicken instead of dipping the chicken into it. I heard this maintains crispiness, so paint don't dip. Speaking of painting, you know the Mona Lisa? I don't think it's that cute. No shade to Da Vinci or whatever, but I don't understand the hype. Why is it so green? It's not even a nice sage green. It's a musty, dusty green. I don't like it. Of course, I had to make everything from scratch, so I made the buns and I also grew my own lettuce on my lettuce tree. Anyway, yeah, I threw the burger together and then I dug in. Okay, bye. Do you see my buns? Soft, fluffy. My buns are softer and thicker than yours. Yours are flat and crusty. So basically, I've been trying to make fluffy burger buns because I feel like you haven't lived unless you've had a burger with fresh bread. It's so much better. One thing about me is I don't trust. So when I would hear other people say this, I thought they were being dramatic, but no. Burgers with fresh buns makes a huge difference. So for this recipe, what I did was I got my milk bread recipe that I use for everything, but I changed a few things. The main difference was that I used bread flour instead of regular flour. For so long, I was like, why is my bread not breading? bread flour is your answer. You will get fluffier bread if you use it. Then I also added milk powder. I don't know the scientific reasonings, but I learned that milk powder makes your bun soft. The last change was an extra egg yolk and double the amount of butter to make it more richer. Just because you're poor doesn't mean your bread has to be poor too. This dough is so soft and it smells so buttery. You don't understand. If it was more socially acceptable, I would have ate it raw. But yeah, once the dough is kneaded, everything else is easy peasy lemon squeezy. You just let it rise and form the shapes. By the way, when you form them, be gentle. Treat your buns with love and respect. After they were baked, whilst they were still hot, I brushed them with some melted butter because extra butter is nice. The idea of high cholesterol is a social construct. Don't let them fool you. But yeah, that is it. Bye. This cake that you're witnessing is the fudgiest chocolate cake you will ever try, and I know you might have heard 10 other people say this about their own chocolate cake recipe. Let me tell you something. The internet is a dangerous place filled with filthy liars. I'm the only person you should trust. This chocolate cake, soft, fudgy, fluffy, juicy, edible, delectable. It was so good. The first thing I did was make a fudge icing. For this, it was just dark chocolate butter, icing sugar, cream, and some salt. I made this first because it needs a few hours to set up, but after a few hours, it will be so soft and fudgy. Unfortunately, just like you, it is unstable, so I wouldn't recommend using this to decorate a cake. But today, we're going for taste, not aesthetic. For the cake, it is your basic regular cake ingredients. I just did a few things differently. I used oil instead of butter for extra moistness. Then I added buttermilk, also for moistness. The last thing I added to the batter was a mixture of vinegar and baking soda. This is something that is usually added to red velvet cakes. It gives it that velvety texture. But I was like, hold on. Why is red velvet cake the only cake that is allowed to have a velvety texture? That seems not right. Every cake deserves equal opportunities, so I added it to this too. Again, this icing is soft. It does fully set eventually, but it takes like 2 to 3 business years. I don't want to wait that long. In 2 to 3 years, my plan is to be flying around the world in a private jet. I don't want to have to come back and ice this cake. I actually think about this a lot. If I was a billionaire, I wouldn't get a private jet because I am for the people and I care about the environment. I know I'm such a good person. I do deserve to be a billionaire. I digress. I was trying to say, if you leave it to set for longer, it will be super thick. I didn't wait that long, so my cake was sliding around. It was a little lopsided like your face, but that's fine. Anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. Thank you for being here. Bye. Recently in a video, I talked about how s'mores are not good. That video caused a little bit of a ruckus. I seem to have offended the USA community. I would like to apologize. I didn't realize s'mores were an American national treasure. I wasn't trying to choose problems. I was just speaking my truth. Anyway, like I previously said, I don't like s'mores, but I do love s'mores flavored things. So I decided to make s'mores donuts as a peace offering. So to make donuts, you need dough. So I made that first. I just made a milk bread dough, kneaded it for about 15 minutes, then left this to rise. Typically, when you make donut shapes, you roll the dough out, then use a circle cookie cutter. You use a circle cookie cutter to make the shapes. Today, I switched things up. Instead of doing that, I just roll the dough into small balls and then flatten them. I like this way better. You don't have to re-roll any dough, and you also don't have any leftover dough. You are poor. Wasting anything is not financially smart for you, so I think this way is a lot better. After I fried these, I filled the donuts with Nutella. It actually wasn't Nutella. It was from some brand called Bonum. Yeah, and marshmallow fluff. I couldn't find marshmallow fluff anywhere. I had to get this off Jeffrey's website. I meant Jeffrey the Amazon guy, not Jeffree Star, in case that wasn't clear enough. You know, truthfully, I don't mean this in like a shady way or whatever, but nothing in life scares me more than Jeffree Star. I digress. I filled them, then I dipped them in some ganache and some crushed digestives for the s'mores vibes, and yeah, that is it. To the citizens of the USA, please accept my peace offering. Thank you.